It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty.
Everybody been keeping one eye on Diddy's trial, but what nobody saw coming was Usher stepping out of the shadows and finally speaking on what really went down. And this ain't just some mild clapback or slick industry shade. According to sources, Usher came with recordings that might prove Diddy's guilty of way more than folks even imagined. And get this, Diddy really put Usher in the hospital after using his back door like there was no tomorrow. But before we dive in deep, let's be real clear. Everything you're about to hear comes from reports, testimonies, and internet speculations. So, if this flips your whole perspective, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just laying out what's already been put out there. Word is Usher had been silenced for years with NDAs, payouts, and straight-up threats, but now he's done playing nice. Allegedly, he's been keeping receipts, phone convos, private footage, even voice memos from as far back as 2004. That's 2 decades of dirt, and Usher's finally ready to take the gloves off. And as Diddy trial starts and more celebs are called to testify, it wouldn't be surprising if Usher exposes everything you see. Usher was probably the first to experience everything even before Cassie. And according to people close to the source, this ain't about revenge, it's survival. Usher was used as a teen, moved into Diddy's house at just 14, and saw firsthand the twisted parties, the camera setups, the private editions. He was a witness and a victim, and now potentially the key witness in taking Diddy down. Now, let's lock in back. When Usher was just 14 or 13 years old, freshly signed to LA Reid's LA Face Records, his whole life was in front of him, young, talented, and full of potential. But instead of keeping that boy protected, Reid made a controversial decision. He shipped Usher out to New York to live with Sean Puffy Combs, who at the time was known as the Wild Party King in the game.
Usher. I met him when he was 14, and my book actually opens with that because it was one of the highlights in my career. At 14 years old, this young guy comes walking into my office, and he starts singing. And I stop him early and say, wait a minute, hold up, this is too good. I need to go get some girls. So I bring all the girls from the office in, and Usher drops down on one knee and starts singing it to the prettiest girl in the room and starts seducing her with his eyes. He's 14. Yeah. And he has no fear, no anxiety, no nervousness, and he goes in and he nails it. And I'm like, okay, thank you, and welcome to the fake.
Even LA Reid later admitted he wasn't even sure if what he did was wise or completely reckless, but what went on in that apartment, that's where things start getting dark. One source said Usher ended up in the hospital after what happened there. That's right. Word from industry insiders, especially folks tied to Harlem back in the day, say Puff did something so vile it sent Usher to the ER. When the whispers started floating around, nobody was saying names yet, but they were talking about someone who was bleeding from the. That's not speculation, that's what people were saying even before they realized that someone in question was Usher.
I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher?
Now, at the time, Usher didn't even understand the full scope of what he was exposed to. In an interview, he once mentioned he was sent to Puffy's flavor camp when he was just 13 and lived with him for a whole year.
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was LA Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
But that was just the beginning. Later on, when Usher was asked what life was like inside Puffy's house, he didn't hold back completely. He said the house was filled with chicks and described the vibe as wild. He didn't come out and say everything directly, but he gave just enough to make it clear something was off. He even admitted that at the time, he didn't really know what he was looking at.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was.
And Diddy, he was playing it slick. There's a clip still floating around of him on a live stream, and in it he slipped up big time. He started talking about him, and Usher used to wake up together back in the day. But then, he caught himself MS sentence. It got awkward real quick. He tried to backtrack, saying Usher was around 10 years old, and that they used to argue over Frosted Flakes, or whatever, but by then the people around him were visibly uncomfortable, like they couldn't believe what he just said.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like that's how, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes, you know what I'm saying, before pause was invented, you know what I'm saying, but it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world.
Yo, what the f did Puff just say?
But it gets worse. According to one report, Usher was allegedly present at a dinner with Diddy Neo, Jimmy Iovine, and Cassie. During that dinner, Cassie was punched in the stomach by Diddy right in front of them, and none of those men said a word. And according to folks reacting to that report, people were quick to point out that Usher's got a daughter of his own. So watching him freeze up in front of something so raw, something that dangerous, paints a picture of how deeply manipulated and mentally controlled these artists were, and maybe still are. But now Usher seems to be finally snapping out of it, and these weren't just random moments. According to several sources, this was all part of a long trail of manipulation that Usher was forced to normalize just to survive, and over time that normalization turned into silence. He went on with his career, keeping the trauma to himself. Now here's where it gets even more twisted. Usher didn't just survive that experience, he unknowingly became part of the same system Usher, once under Diddy's control, ended up introducing Justin Bieber into. That same orbit. Justin, who is also just 13, was handed over to the same industry pipeline that nearly broke Usher. Law Reed once revealed in an interview that Usher brought Bieber to him as a gift.
Justin Bieber walks into my office as a gift from Usher, who called a few minutes before and said, "Hey, I'm coming to your office at 3 o'clock. I have a very special gift for you." And he shows up with Justin Bieber.
Said that Justin was beautiful and that Diddy got temporary guardianship over him for 48 hours.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you wanna do? What you wanna do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go get some girls.
But it didn't end there. Justin ended up spending unsupervised time with Diddy, partying with him when he was only 15. There are videos online showing Diddy asking Justin questions that feel off, even warning him not to say what happened during their time together.
Different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
My number.
Yeah.
And it gets more disturbing. In another clip, Diddy was caught asking if Bieber was wearing a wire, like he knew something might blow up. And Usher, he can't dodge accountability anymore. People close to the situation are calling out how he helped deliver Bieber into the same chaos. He barely escaped. One user even said Usher was one of Diddy's first. That Usher put JB in the same situation makes him no better than Diddy. As more footage and stories resurface, people are looking back and seeing the red flags. And it doesn't stop with just Usher or Bieber. Freddie P came forward talking about how Diddy allegedly manipulated his own son, keeping him close, cutting him off from his father, and flooding him with material gifts. The implication, did he made sure his secret stayed protected by raising those who could one day expose him.
It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know, like why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets, because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age, because he's not yours.
And the wildest part, even Diddy's relationship with his own mother raised eyebrows. There's a video of Diddy kissing his 83-year-old mother on the lips, calling her mom Dukes, saying she's single and ready to mingle, and even joking about taking her to strip clubs. Also, she was photographed wearing white nail paint. And if you have been following this case, you know what that means.
Introduce you to my mom, call Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me, she's hydrating. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too.
And the story only gets deeper. Gene Deal, a former bodyguard and respected industry insider, claimed that Diddy's mother ran a modeling agency that secretly acted as a front for escort services. According to him, she had a major influence on Diddy's behavior, even going so far as to participate in those infamous freak-off parties with.
Combs gave that stuff up a long time ago, when she used to do her little modeling thing with her little ladies other night. The little wild parties. When she gave that up, remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yo.
That's from the Diddy freak-off party. And I'm gonna say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, you know, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party, and she party with young people. She's always been like that.
Even one user agreed, saying, "She definitely always been a weirdo to me too. She probably tampered with him early on." And when you start connecting all the dots from Usher to Bieber to Cassie to Diddy's own kid and mother, you begin to see something bigger. It's not random, it's a full-blown pattern. Still, that didn't stop another user from pointing out, "I think that Usher started out as a victim, but he definitely became an enabler at the very least. Justin Bieber is definitely a victim, you can tell by his actions. As an adult, I hope that the whole truth comes to light, and we finally find out just how deep this goes." And every responsible person faces justice. It's all wild. These allegations seem to keep connecting like puzzle pieces. But now the real question is it too late for Usher to undo the damage that's already been done? Or is this just the beginning of a reckoning, one that Diddy never thought would actually come? What's your reaction to this bombshell moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're tracking every single twist as it unfolds. And if you're here for real talk, raw truth, and no sugar coating, hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the next video we've got waiting for you.